Hello everyone and welcome to this video where we are going to talk about the latest update. We've now gotten air conditioning. There is a way to cool off chambers and systems. We're going to be running a series of tests to explore what this system can be, what can be accomplished with this new part. We're going to run tests with looking at transferring fluid to fluid. We're going to look at transferring ocean water into cooling off a room. So let's get going. Here we are in the update notes, and it's for version 1.12.6, the thermoelectric cooler update, and pretty much it says we get a new component. It's called a heat exchanger. It contains a solid state heat pump which will move heat from the cool loop to the hot loop if you have electricity present. This means now it is possible to build cooling units, air conditioners. Previously it was only possible to heat an area above ambient temperature. Now with this component we should be able to do the opposite. What is also awesome, it says that we've received new components and some fixes, improvements to the zombie add-on, which is active during Halloween. Happy Halloween everyone. Now this part I'm actually very excited for. It says next week we are announcing the next major update for Stormworks. This is going to be a very important announcement. It's hard to know exactly how big the impact will be, but I expect it could potentially create a new era of Stormworks. Okay, keep that in mind, a new era of Stormworks. We are really excited to share this message next week. So I'm going to make another video talking about what I believe this could be, because clearly a new era of Stormworks is a huge update. And at the bottom it says we get the new feature, the Cryo Cooler component, we get the seasonal zombie script, and it did some fixes. Here's my little test platform, and this is the piece. It's called the Cryo Cooler, a powered component that creates a temperature difference between two liquid systems. A component that cools liquid A transfers the heat to liquid B. So instead of us just getting a plain old air conditioner where, you turn it on and the temperature drops, we're actually building our own air conditioner. So we do have an on and off input logic. We have the two temperatures and then the two liquids in and out, as well as electric. Now what I've done is created this first one, which is a standard case. What we have in here is seawater, and we have a temperature probe, and we have the value here. So we're going to turn on the furnace and heat up this compartment. There is a pump on the back, and the reason for this is I just want to keep this as kind of our base case. We're going to keep that and not do any cooling or anything with it. Now here we have the new part, and it is the Cryo Cooler, located right here in blue. And pretty much what it does is, in this compartment here, we have the exact same setup. We have a furnace, it's going to heat the liquid, pumps it in, but now we're actually pumping through this cryo cooler into and cooling it off with the temperature from this chamber. Okay, so if you delete these and press and hold a pipe over this, it says liquid B in, so this is the liquid that gets warmed. This is liquid A in, this is the liquid that gets cooled. Now I just have to make sure that the cooler, or that this thing is actually going in the right way. So it's not right now, and that is going to be a problem. So you have to keep in mind that the liquid in has to match the pump out, right? Out to in. So what I'm going to do is just take this component and rotate it. Now I would have loved that if we had some kind of arrow on this unit, but unfortunately we don't, so we have to just kind of rely on pressing this. So coolant liquid B out and liquid A out, meaning on this side here we have liquid in, and in this part here we have in. So it's now moving through the system, going through this and cooling off, pretty much taking the temperature from this one and cooling it using the temperature from this one. So we should see this one dropping and this one rising. And I have a third case here, which is the exact same thing. I did rotate this one around just so we have it matching. So liquid out, and on this side it's the liquid out of A. So this is the cooling one, and this is the one that's going to get warmed. So again, exact same principle and system. However, in this case, just to see what happens, I'm going to flip this thing around. I'm going to rotate it like that So opposite, just to see, purely experiment. Now this is the one that gets warmed, and we're actually going to plug that into the side that has the furnace. So in this case, it shouldn't work, quite simply. Now I'm going to make sure everything is operated by the same set of buttons, just so we don't end up having to repeat everything. So this keypad does nothing. This is all plugged into the electricity, and we're going to see what happens in this first test using the seawater. Okay, first things first, we're going to turn on the furnaces. So that should have turned on the furnace in all of these chambers. So you can see that it's increasing now. Infinite electric, the battery will not drain. So we're going to keep that variable not changing. We're going to keep it a constant. Okay, that's enough. So we've reached over 100 degrees. That one is experiencing a higher temperature. Presumably these ones are already kind of mixing, but these two should be the same. So you can see here it's 129, 130. This one's a little higher, 140. Actually, it does matter for a proper test. We have to make sure that that's a constant. So we're going to make the temperature the same. So I did add the second chamber. I did add the cryo cooler. But what I'm doing in this instant right now is I'm not going to have this button turn on this cryo cooler. So we're going to turn that and stop that. So all the temperatures you could see are 114, 116, whatever. And I'm going to turn this on. And now you can see here this cryo cooler is on. This one is not on, and then this one is the one facing the wrong directions, and it's on. So if we step back and watch the numbers here, for a little bit it may not do anything. Now the right case to follow is this one here, because this one is the one that's properly plugged in. So you can see the temperature B is dropping and the temperature A is increasing. No, it's not. Temperature A is decreasing, temperature B is decreasing. So everything's decreasing in this one. Over onto this side here, we could see that it's doing the same thing. So actually we're getting the same numbers here, implying that in fact this system is not working. And just to check it over here with our base case, it's dropping the same amount of temperature, a little slower. So if we look over here, you can see that we've hit 84 degrees on both of them. I let it go for a little longer, and you could see here that even in the one where I've done nothing, it's only like 1 degree hotter than the one that should be working right. And funny enough, it's the exact same temperature as the one that wasn't even plugged in the right way. So I don't think that this system right now is operating in a proper orientation for this to work. Funny enough that this update seems to have also stumped a couple of my YouTuber colleagues. I watched their videos to kind of see if I could understand something, and I'm not getting anything. So what I've done is gone over to the hot island. It's 30 degrees here. So I want to see if I could use presumably the cold ocean water to cool this room, to give it kind of an air conditioning type system inside this room, thereby making it and proving that this can drop the temperature. So we're going to use the ocean water this time rather than try to use, a little tank. Maybe it's not meant for a tank. Maybe it has to be something a little bit heftier. So we'll select the part, the cooler, and just have to be careful again which direction. So this is out and this is also out. So actually this can't be plugged in that way. In fact, it has to cycle. So this one here is out, moving in the up direction back into the chamber right up there, while the bottom one is going to be cycling the seawater. Okay, so that is one system, and this is the one that's supposed to get warmer, so definitely not that side. We have to flip this thing around. So if I flip it in this direction like that and merge the bodies, we can maybe see that this is the port for the liquid that gets cooled. Okay, cooled. So cool. We're going to cool that one. All right, just like that. So let's see if this works. let's see what this one says. Input liquid for the liquid that gets cooled. So input for the liquid that gets cooled. That's exactly what we want, whereas this is output for the liquid that gets cooled. So that's the one we want to be cooling. Now we're going to have to put a pump. I'm going to put it right here, and it's going to be a small one this time. I'm curious if putting a smaller one has any upside or downside versus the other one. This is fluid in. We don't want that side. We want the other side, just like that. Okay, so it's now going to be coming from the room out here into this cooler and back into the room. Whereas on this side here, we're going to circulate with the seawater. So this case, this is out. So I'm just going to leave it again. We're just going to put it down here with one of these. Whereas on this one, I'm going to go ahead and put a pump and then attach it into the water. So just like that, this is fluid. We need fluid in. So we need it to be the other direction. Maybe I should just learn what the symbols are on these pumps, but anyway, this is fluid in and this is fluid out. Now I know some of you will say stuff like, oh, maybe we should put this further apart, so let's go ahead and put it further apart. I personally don't think there's any difference just from what I've seen and how I've seen the game behave. Pretty much if it goes here, it dissipates into the whole thing. The water doesn't have levels of temperature, but doesn't matter. Here we have it, and up there, I guess for the same logic we could also push this one to be in a different spot. But anyway, let's not do that. One's sucking in, one's sucking in, one's sucking out. So anyway, that's what we have. We still have infinite electricity on, but we are just going to put this pump or put this battery because we have to, and then we'll put a toggle button right inside this room. It's going to be blue to denote cold. And once we give that electricity and plug this into the pumps down there, this should hopefully be good to go. Okay, so ambient temperature 30 degrees. If we hop into the room, temperature 30 degrees. Now if I close this, I'm just going to show you that this is clearly underwater, so that's good. Now if I press this button, let's see what happens. Now the thing should be working, but oh, there we go. It actually is dropping. Right on. Just going to add some displays here, so I want to be able to read my numbers from inside this room. So this is going to be our ambient temperature, and then I'm going to put a display in this room here that will be displaying the number coming out of this thermometer. It's going to be a bit more accurate. It's going to have some decimal places, so that will hopefully help us see exactly at which rate it's dropping. Oh yeah. Well, it's definitely dropping. Not very quickly, but it is dropping. So we are now using the ocean water to cool off this room. Now I'm sure this is gonna be good to make more tests and show what the different pumps give you and whatnot. But for this one, I'm just gonna simply see if copying a bunch of this system will make the room cool much faster. Now this may be overkill, maybe not. I'm gonna just kind of put a bunch of them just like that and merge all the bodies and just connect it all, and we'll see. I'm thinking that logic dictates it should cool faster versus, not having these pumps. So we're hopefully going to see a visual change of numbers as we turn the pump on here, or turn on the cooler. Okay, we're in the room. I'm going to turn this on. And now we have all these pumps working. You can see that all these are circulating the air. Down there we got all of these various pumps, and it is dropping now. My air pressure may be changing in here, and I do have the fluid ports on the top that are supposed to enable the room to breathe and pretty much cycle the air so I don't end up drowning in this room, and that may be actually preventing this from changing faster, but it is definitely dropping. This is a bit risky, but I'm just going to go and delete these because I think that they're preventing the full potential of this system. Now granted, that also opens up to other potential problems, such as, like I said, the air pressure, the air, the air should be, it's cycling through, no, it's a closed system, right? It's cycling through the cryo cooler, but it's not giving me any new air. So technically, if there's a composition in this room of only carbon dioxide, I'm stuck with it. It's not cycling to the outside whatsoever. But this is dropping, which is nice to see. And I'm just going to leave it for a little while and let it drop. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is turn on or disable my player damage. Now, since I can't cool off the ocean in this game, no matter how much heat I end up putting into the ocean here, it's going to keep dropping my heat until my room hopefully hits that ambient temperature. And not the ambient temperature of the actual temperature, but the ambient temperature of the ocean. So presumably it should be 20 degrees or something else. I didn't put a thermometer in the ocean itself, so we're just stuck with the values that we're reading here. But you can see the outside air is 30 degrees, and in the room we've dropped it down to almost 23, or in the realm of the 23 now. Oh, it seems to be speeding up a little bit. Maybe I'm just getting a placebo effect from staring at these numbers for so long, but soon enough here we're gonna drop to that 20 degrees. So I've gotten it working. It seems to work. I just don't know the exact nature and benefit of something like this right now, but it is dropping the temperature of the room. Now, one thing that I've thought about while this is going down is this is not a true air conditioner system. We're just distributing the temperature of a colder body with the body that I'm trying to drop the temperature in. Now, we do have an electric portion to this new cryo cooler component, which to me hopefully implies that it's not just going to exchange straight temperature like a heat exchanger, but it's actually going to keep dropping it. So in essence, we could imagine the cryo cooler has like Freon or has some kind of component that is going to drop the temperature more so than just purely exchanging one-to-one the room temperature for the water temperature. Because originally that's kind of what I envisioned, but that's just a plain old heat exchanger. So why does the cryo cooler function any differently? So I'm wondering if we are going to drop down past that 20 degree threshold, and if we're going to keep on dropping as we keep on using, let's say, the ocean here to exchange the temperature in addition to that cooling Freon type situation that the cryo cooler may have. I've gotten the temperature down to 16.5 degrees. Now for out here, you can see that we have the little heat warning on the bottom right corner. If we hop into the room here, it drops off right away. So the room itself is cool. Our character is now nice and cool. He's not overheating. So that is awesome. And actually this thing keeps on dropping. So that actually goes to show that there's possibly more to it than purely the temperature of the water, but rather some kind of other element that actually makes this cooler a cooler versus purely just a heat exchanger. And we are in the double digits. We're at 9.25 degrees and it's still dropping. I'm not sure if it slowed down, sped up, whatever. It looks like it slowed down, but the point is we are now actually at 9 degrees where the ambient temperature is almost or more than 20 degrees higher. So I've proven that at least the coolers do work. I'm not quite sure the use of them just yet, but the point is we can use them. So thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, stay tuned for more content, and as always, happy Stormworksing, everyone. So you saw now that the temperature rose up a little bit and we're back out here. If we step into the room, close it, we're still at 15 and we've cooled off nicely. So it seems to be at least our character is happy in here and not overheating. Until next time, everyone, take care.